afternoon, everyone. So a little introduction. My name is Christy Vaccaro. I've been a personal trainer for 9 years now. I've coached CrossFit, I've coached boot camps, a ton of one-on-one, online coaching, macro coaching, TRX, kettlebell, weightlifting. I used to be a power lifter, I used to be a dancer. So I've kind of gone into every different aspect of fitness over the past 9-10 years. And most recently, I have had 2 babies. So I have one that's a little over 2 and one that's just about 8 months old. So 2 back-to-back pregnancies, and I actually had 1 miscarriage in between the 2. So essentially 3 pregnancies in a row and a hell of a lot of hormones. Why am I telling you this? Well, having babies was never something I really considered. I wasn't for or against it. I just never, I guess, pictured that for myself, and it took the right man for that to become a reality and to create the family dynamic. So anyways, fit pregnancy and training through pregnancy was never something I really considered or paid much attention to. And then when I got pregnant the first time, I just was like, I'm just gonna do what I've always done, right? Because that's what we're told. And having, considered myself a fitness professional for the last almost decade, it would be no big deal for me to just do what I had always done. And what I experienced was that a lot of the coaches just kind of left it up to me as an athlete and as a fellow coach to just make those determinations as far as what I was going to do, continue to do, discontinue. But really, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And so, when I would ask advice, a lot of the coaches, their advice came from what they had seen other fit pregnant moms do, in CrossFit or on TV or Instagram or whatever. So there wasn't a whole lot of education. Now what happened to me was at 19 weeks, I found out that I was borderline intrauterine growth restriction, my son. So he wasn't growing properly to their standards. So he was, I think, at like the 3rd percentile on a couple of his measurements. And if you drop below that 3%, then you're an IUGR baby. So they told me to discontinue exercise and to just rest, eat a lot, drink a lot of water, and just take it easy. So I was, of course, devastated. My goal with my pregnancy was to be this role model, this fit role model through my pregnancy. And, when I found out I couldn't work out, I just kind of sunk down into a depression and just didn't feel like myself even more than when you're just pregnant. But then, when fitness is my life and now I can't work out and my body is changing out of my control, it was just a whole stress mess. It really, really affected me pretty negatively, and I didn't have the best first pregnancy. But I did it for my baby, who came out healthy, a healthy 6 pounds, 7 ounces, and he's a beautiful 2 and change year old baby now. Anyways, postpartum, that's where I want to talk about. I jumped back in, oh my gosh, from not being able to train from weeks 19 on. The second I hit like 3-4 weeks postpartum, I was like, hell yeah, like I'm gonna work out. I could pull up my journal, but it actually, it's pretty disgusting for me to look back and see the things that I was doing. And just completely didn't respect my body and what it had just been through, and it makes me a little upset talking about, because I was so proud of myself in the moment. Like no joke, I squatted 255 pounds, 8 weeks postpartum. And so back up, I had a natural vaginal birth, so there's a lot of pressure and a lot of things that went on down there, pushing a baby out. So then to load an additional 250 pounds onto my back, and to squat and be so proud of it and like, yeah, I just did that. And it's like, oh my God, like if I knew now what I knew then, I would have slapped myself. In addition to that, I was doing toes to bar and sit-ups and V-ups and L-sit holds and pull-ups and kipping pull-ups and handstand push-ups. And I remember being upside down, and this is gonna sound weird, I remember being upside down and like a few weeks postpartum doing handstand push-ups and feeling like my organs shift and like air and like just weird stuff happening down there. And I was just like, wow, you know, I've never been postpartum before, this probably just normal. No, it's not fucking normal, because normal people don't do handstand push-ups. And it was like 21:59 handstand push-ups and heavy ass deadlifts, whatever, I forget what workout that is, Elizabeth maybe. I'm like, why? Like, why was I doing that? It's because I had something to prove to myself, that just because I had a baby, I wasn't changed. Yeah, you are changed. And I just wish that I could go back and slow it down, you know, and respect my body and take the moments with my son that I just was getting so frustrated. Why is he crying? I just want to work out. And like, I just wanted to like feel like myself again. And it goes by so fast. So anyways, getting off topic. I got a chance to redo it, and I got pregnant, miscarried, and then pregnant again with my son that's now 8 months. And thankfully, I was turned on to Brianna Battles and the pregnancy and postpartum athleticism program, and I had the chance to do things differently during my second pregnancy and now postpartum. And I respected my body during the process, and I didn't rush it. And if I didn't feel like training, I didn't train. And I educated some of my coaches during the time too, and explained to them why I was scaling from rowing, even though I was just pregnant. Like, why? They're like, why aren't you rowing? Well, because when I row, my abdomen is coning, and the coning when I'm pregnant will affect my postpartum, because I'm just making the separation that's naturally happening when you're pregnant even worse, because I'm pushing that pressure outward and stretching it and stretching it and stretching it. So then when the baby's gone, now my abdomen is even more stretched out than maybe it would have been. So that's why I'm biking. Well, why aren't you running? Because I don't need all that downward pressure, all this weight and all my organs that are all pushing and pushing and pushing. Like, I don't need to be running. I don't need all that pressure down, down, down. So I'm gonna ride the bike, you know? There's just, why aren't you doing ab work? Why am I gonna put stress on my core when there's already a baby putting stress on my core? Like, stretching this out, I'm not gonna stress it doing exercises. Why? You know, and it's just like, unfortunately, as athletes, we sometimes feel the need to justify why we're scaling something or justify why we're skipping something altogether when we're pregnant or postpartum, and there's no justification needed. But what is needed is educated coaches, and I'm really excited to be in the process of getting this pregnancy and postpartum athleticism coaches certification, and I'm really excited to get out into the community in Las Vegas and Henderson, and then just the online community, and share this knowledge of my experiences, and educate coaches to ask the right questions. I've never been asked, do you have leaking during exercise? Do you feel pressure? Do you feel pain? Do you feel heaviness? Are you still nursing? Guess what? Breastfeeding, that changes things. You still have the hormones that make your ligaments and your joints loose. Your fascia is different. It's not gonna continue healing until all those hormones are out. So because I am still breastfeeding, it makes a difference. And no one's ever asked that. You know, no one's ever asked if I leak when I jump and given me, you know, cues or strategies to improve it. There was no waiver when I signed up at any of the gyms in my past. Have you ever had a baby? Did you deliver vaginally, or did you have a C-section? How was your recovery? These questions need to be asked by coaches, because women feel alone and women feel embarrassed, and it's not embarrassing. Men can have pelvic floor issues too. So all these questions need to be asked, they need to be addressed, and coaches, if you don't have the answers, seek them, find them, be a good coach, and get the education you need to help your female athletes, whether or not they've had a baby.